What do you got?
Okay. Consistency is better than originality when it comes to creating content. Consistency is better than originality when it comes to creating content.
Oh, man, that's hard. Consistency is better than originality when it comes to creating content.
All right.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Stonk agree.
Stonk agree.
I
with
just
me
said
as well.
agree.
Stonk agree.
Yeah, we all agree.
We all agree.
I thought there was a chance you might do disagree to be contrarian.
Nah, that's one thing about YouTube and social media in general. Consistency. I know more people who get away with doing slop content because they can post a lot more frequently than some of the highest quality creative like content I've ever seen who fall off because they barely post.
Yeah, for sure.
You sacrifice a lot when you, even though it is slop, you do these daily things where you spend a lot of time doing it. You know, it takes a lot of energy to do that.
Yeah.
And you have to put most of your life on the back burner for it.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think that as a creative, holding yourself to a schedule or being disciplined and consistently having to make something, regardless if it's original or not, because what even the fuck does that mean, really, in this context? But your baseline quality that you can achieve will always improve the more you're doing it. And so maybe if you could take time off, you could make a masterpiece, but you learn so much by having to hold yourself to the ability to constantly make something, and also have to be original in doing that. Like, you have to make something, you have to find ideas. Like, forcing yourself to come up with ideas is not easy.
Yes.
But it's a skill that you can learn.
Yeah, and I think especially on sites like YouTube, where, like, if by content we're talking about, like, you know, making videos or whatever, originality just isn't really a thing that's rewarded as much anymore. Like, you know, maybe in the earlier days of YouTube where, like, it was still a brand new platform and people didn't know what the fuck they even wanted to watch, it was a lot easier to be original and be rewarded for it. Whereas nowadays, I feel consistency is much more rewarded regardless of the quality, quote unquote, of the content, if you will, right? Because if you say, for example, you look at, say, like the arts, like traditional art, for example, then yeah, it might be the opposite, where like originality is probably going to be, in the longer run, rewarded more than the consistency. But people don't look at YouTube videos in the same way that we view traditional oil paintings, right? Like, it's a completely different style of art. So I think the people who consume it and the system itself rewards consistency now over originality. And as Connor said, like, it's like, what does original even mean anymore? Like, how it's pretty hard to be original on YouTube now.
Well,
like, fully original on YouTube.
I think you're always inspired by
exactly
media or whatever it is that has happened in your life.
Totally.
Everyone is inspired by everyone. So I think originality is such a trap to find yourself in. The desire to have to be so original.
I agree.
When, you know, we're all original human beings. Just follow your own voice.
The most original thing you can be is yourself. You know?
Damn, that's deep.
Damn.
Yep. I just went there.
Damn.
Give me that.
Damn.
Take it.
All right. What do we have? All right, here we go. Social media has made people worse friends. That's worse friends, huh?
Muzukashi.
Muzukashi, ne. You can't write neutral, right?
No neutral.
That definitely would have been my answer.
What's neutral about the show?
Depends on what kind of people you associate with. If you have friends who are not on social media, then no, obviously. Has made people worse friends? Okay. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Disagree.
Can't put
Agree.
I put stonk disagree.
Stonk disagree.
Yeah.
All right, well,
What?
please present your
I'll
argument.
go first.
Okay, go on.
All right.
I think in this day and age, because we all have the luxury of being able to almost keep up with each other by not having to see anyone, and also you can almost one-sided keep up with each other.
Yep.
Even your friends that aren't like because obviously we're content creators, but like just friends that I'm just checking in what they're doing. Like I definitely parasocially keep up with all my friends from what they're posting. And I'll be like, oh, when I see them, I'll be like, oh, I saw you did the thing. And in my weird brain, it does scratch a little bit of that. I hung out with the Mitch. However, and I think it's allowed you to take on more friends, like a capacity for more friends. However, I think this is maybe a recent phenomenon. I think it's kind of made a lot of people push back because a lot of people don't like being on it anymore. And so I found personally in my life that I've had a lot of friends that I feel like make more of an effort now because, especially because we're getting older as well, that they realize that like, look, this interacting through social media is not an interaction. It's not a real experience. Let's hang out. Let's do some more stuff. So I feel like in some aspect, it's made a smaller group of my friends stronger. And I feel like I am generally weaker friends with a lot of people. Maybe this is just the true life balance of being how many friends you can juggle, like realistically.
Yeah.
How many close friends can you actually have? The day-old question of how many best friends can you have?
Yeah, right.
You know.
Well, I think you presented a great argument for my case.
Trap card,
actually.
You've stressed. This is why he wants to go second. I'll give it you.
It's like
Yeah, I mean,
Pegasus,
everything you just said in terms of just your own personal like experience.
And I also know that we're YouTubers, so that's a big caveat.
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
But you know, sometimes I feel like unless you have that kind of like realization of just like, oh, okay, how do I form a proper connection, not through social media? Some people can be sometimes overly reliant on that kind of like social media, social media engagement and social media conversation without going out their efforts, going out the way to build a proper connection with someone, which does take a bit more efforts than kind of like commenting on your Instagram posts, or you know, sometimes talking to each other. No,
I completely agree with that, and that's why like if I had the choice, I would have put neutral because I think, and the only reason I put disagree is because I think, as Connor said, like maybe it's the age talking, or maybe it's the fact that people are slowly starting to come onto the idea of maybe social media isn't like the best way to like deal with friendships or keep up with friends or anything like that. And I think more and more people, maybe, you know, millennials, our generation, are slowly starting to understand the importance of in-person friendships over social media friendships. You know, like you could have 1,000 people you follow on Instagram, but at the end of the day, are you friends with 1,000 of those people? Probably not. You know, you're probably only friends with like a fraction of those people, and the way that you treat those small fraction of people is completely different to the rest of the, you know, thousands of people that you might be following, right? So I think it's getting to that idea now where this whole idea of social media bad in all aspects, I think is slowly starting to seep into the fact that people are realizing that the worst, I think people as well are getting too comfortable on social media about the things that they say or the things that they do because they view it as like a reflection of themselves one-to-one. And so people are starting to be like, I was kind of cool with you when we were hanging out in person, but like you're posting that kind of shit or you're saying this kind of shit online. There's a very different person. Like, how can I trust you? You know, like how do I try and form a friendship with someone who acts like this in person but acts completely different online, for example? I mean, I don't hang out with those people like that, but there have been examples of people like that. And I just think it gives like a false sense of, I don't know, connection in a weird way. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just not really on social media as much anymore. And I just, as Connor said, like I value in-person friendships a lot more now.
It was your slam dunk.
Yeah. I mean,
do you retort?
I mean, both of you guys have, kind of just said, I make real friends by not going on social media, which is the entire point. But, you know, what I was, you know, kind of like, I'm going to build on you guys this one. I'm not going to dunk it down because I feel like, I'll dunk on you.
I dunked on you for that kid thing, so I think
but rightfully so. Someone had to.
I laughed very hard.
But I mean, I feel like it's never been easier to make friends with social media and finding friends, maintaining friendships, and kind of like building meaningful connections. I think that is where the real challenge lies to a lot of people, where a lot of people are finding people and finding people with like common interests, but that kind of like skill of building a proper like deep bond with each other is maybe what, you know, maybe a lot of what people are lacking, and maybe what people think the friendship through social media provides, but it doesn't provide that kind of like deep, meaningful friendship all the time.
Yeah. I think social media friendships should be used as kind of a stepping stone to kind of, I wouldn't say like gauge if a friendship is, you know, solid or authentic, if you will. But like, you know, I think it is a good way, you know, because obviously, you know, I have a lot of friends that I'm still in contact with on social media through Instagram who, you know, most of them live in like Australia or like overseas, not in Japan basically. And social media is the only way really I can like keep up to date with what they're doing.
Yeah.
But like, for example, like very recently, I randomly got a message on Instagram from like a friend of mine who I've known since I was in like the 5th or 6th grade. And the last time I saw them was in the 5th or 6th grade, who just randomly messaged me and was like, hey, I'm in Japan. Do you want to hang out? And I saw him for the first time in 20 years. And like, in my head, it was like, oh yeah, of course I'm still friends with him because we've been following each other, you know, social media and stuff like that and keep up to date, you know, maybe occasionally commenting on each other's stories or posts or whatever. But it wasn't until I met up with him again in person 20 years later that made me solidify, oh yeah, this guy is still the same guy that I was friends with all the way back then, and the friendship is still solid and is still real.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to determine that if social media is all you're going off of. You know?
All right. Then question to you guys.
Yeah.
Like we have like a pretty good like friendship group like here, right? But it takes time to build that kind of like friendship circle. Like, do you think, let's say, you know, we're not, but let's say hypothetically, you choose to move to a different country next month.
Okay.
Let's say China, for example. Let's just hypothetically.
I'm already Chinese.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. What is your strategy for making friends in that? Like, let's say you have to start from zero.
In China?
Yeah, in China.
Why are you laughing, Joey? What are you going to do in China? How are you going to make friends?
Yeah. Since, you know.
Smoke cigarettes?
Yeah.
That will work.
Yeah, that'll work.
What is your strat?
He's going to the mahjong parlor. He's going to learn Chinese mahjong rules.
Yeah.
He's going to start smoking. He's gonna befriend every 50-year-old man.
Yeah,
and
I'll be like,
go
"Hello, my
bankrupt."
fellow Chinese. You want to play some mahjong together?" Instant friends. I
mean,
also
it's-
smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's tough, isn't it? It's tough
Yeah.
to make new friends. I mean,
It is.
Of course.
we've
The
done it.
older
people-
you get, it's going to be harder as
But
well.
people have to do it all the time. And
No, for
it's just
sure.
like, yeah, it is tough to make friends.
Yeah.
You know, it is tough if you don't, you know, we were lucky enough to have a community where we all shared like a common
we were
interest.
drawn to each other.
Yeah, drawn to each other. Not everyone has that.
We're very lucky.
Yeah, not everyone has that privilege.
No, of course. yeah.
And I think sometimes if I were dropped in a different place, could I make like a new friendship group? I think I probably could, but god damn, does that sound daunting?
It
That
would
sounds
take a long
fucking
time.
daunting.
It would take a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It would take a long time and it would be fucking tough as well, and fucking difficult.
And it's always, and you know, the time commitment that you put into it may not necessarily work out either, which
Yeah.
is also, there's that fear as well that makes most people not even bother taking that first step, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's definitely hard, but I guess it also depends like how desperately you want to feel some new connection with some new people, right? Like, you know, maybe some people will move to a new country and just be complacent with the fact that, you know, I'm okay with just having maybe like a couple of new people that I meet along the way, but for the most part, my core friend group is across the ocean or in a different country. But there might be some people who desperately want that local connection, that in-person
You always
connection.
got to have friends that are near you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those should always be the people you can call on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's a scary thing about moving. Is that you new friends.
Exactly.
Yep. New friends and having to put yourself out there once again.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why, you know, I've always said to people, it's like, if you want to move to any country, if you want to move to Japan, if you can, you know, try and like visit a couple of times, obviously, to familiarize yourself with the country. But also, if you can, try and find like one local friend, you know, that like lives in that country, or someone that you know, or someone you can trust, because it makes that first step into making that new friendship group in that country so much easier. I mean, that was the case with me. Like, I had childhood friends who lived here who introduced me to a bunch of people, and now I have some great friends. But if I didn't have that, like, yeah, fuck, it would have been hard.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't have been as bothered maybe as, some other people who want to just like start from scratch and, find a new fresh pair of friends. But like, sometimes people want that. Sometimes people drive for that. And that's the whole reason why they move to a new country.
True. Amen.
Amen to that.
That's the 3 China problem.
That's the 3 China problem. So bottom line, if I move to China, start smoking cigarettes, go to the mahjong parlor. That's how I'm making my friends.
That's a very Chinese time of our life.
It was a very.
I don't know why I kept saying China this episode. Something happened to me in that nap. I think I dreamed of being Chinese.
The sleeper agent awoke.
I don't know what happened, guys. I turned.